Kit's Treehouse is a short story which was published as its own book. The pages are about half the size of the pages in the normal Kit books. The story is 35 pages long, including some illustrations. It's a simple story focusing on Kit and Mrs. Howard. Arguably, there's more development for Mrs. Howard in this short story than any of the Kit books. Kit and Sterling play catch in the backyard. She accidentally falls over and breaks Mrs. Howard's rose trellis. Kit is annoyed when Mrs. Howard is her usual fussy, controlling self. Kit notes that Mrs. Howard is not a team player. She has not contributed to anything recently. She doesn't have a job, so she doesn't pay rent. She doesn't help take care of the house like she used to. She doesn't even watch Sterling anymore. All she does is work as a volunteer gardener at the hospital. At a baseball game, Kit makes a home run. The catcher clobbers her face with his elbow. Blood gets everywhere. This is not shown on the cover of the book. Kit is so badly injured, she needs stitches on her lip. Mrs. Howard helps nurse Kit. Kit is glad that Mrs. Howard is so fussy in this case, while Mrs. Howard is glad to feel useful for a change. The hospital has a shop with food and plants. The man who runs it knows and likes Mrs. Howard. With prompting from Kit, he agrees to hire Mrs. Howard to help take care of the flowers. Now she has a job. She can feel useful all of the time. And even better, use up all of her fussiness outside of the house. The story ends with Kit and Mrs. Howard going to a baseball game together, even though Mrs. Howard has no idea what's going on. After the story is a 10-page historical segment about baseball in the 1930s, followed by a craft idea. It explains how you can decorate a baseball cap. I thought this book was good. I liked how Kit learned to appreciate Mrs. Howard, and it was nice for Kit to help Mrs. Howard get a job. It's good enough that I think this could have been expanded into a full book, although it would need other storylines, perhaps something with Sterling. The title is a little misleading since Kit's home run does not play a central role, but I can overlook that issue because it is a good title. I give Kit's Home Run a thumbs up.